Hello everyone, welcome back to the Wolfpack. I'm so excited to see all of you today for a monthly wrap-up video. But before we get into that, a couple of updates for the channel. I have been working on the podcast wall. It's going. It's not really going too far, but I'm waiting on the wood veneers, the wood veneer panels to come in and some other soundproofing stuff because technically none of my studio is soundproofed at all. And I figured it would be time for an upgrade to do some sound upgrades for the channel since I'm already working on the podcast wall. So that's going, and that wall is in progress. Other than that, I have been working on a ton of things. I feel like in April, it's been crazy. Like I have a really bad working habit where I'll like go nuts for several days straight with like little to no sleep, and then I just like die for a whole day for 48 hours, and then I redo it again. It's a very, very unhealthy habit, and I'm trying to get rid of it, but I don't know. It's just, that's how I work best. It's like, I just am 100,000% focused and then I'm not. There's no in between for my work ethic. It's really bad. But that has been April. It's been a very, very busy month with a lot of projects that I think is finally coming to a close. I just wrapped up my last Kickstarter preview for now yesterday. And then the last project on the docket is Bantam West, which I've been working on daily. Actually, I've been editing in 5 minutes, not working on it for 5 minutes daily, but editing in 5 minutes of that tutorial on a daily basis. So it's coming along, and I feel like we should be done this month. That's my goal. My goal is to finish by middle of May, and we'll start the approval process and get that going. And hopefully I get to show you something very, very soon. Oh, final thing I want to talk about before we get into the games I played for Wednesday is actually I've been kind of playing around with the idea, and that is making an online course for board game photography and filmmaking, making board game content in general, pricing and all that good stuff. It's pretty much what I'm already doing on my channel, but the reason why I want to make a structured course is because on YouTube, it's like I have barely any time or chances to really dive into it. And I feel like it's very, very niche within an already narrow niche. So making a course allows me to really hone in on all of the layer details, and it's for anyone that wants to take this seriously. So I don't know, it's just an idea for now. We'll see if I actually make a course. I think it depends. Oh, of course, it depends on all of your interest on it. So I'll dive a little more into this on Wolfpack Wednesday, which is happening tomorrow. But yeah, if you are even mildly interested in me making a course, let me know down in the comments below. I would love to know because, if I end up doing this, I'm of course going to go all in and make sure this is very, very fine-tuned, valuable, and worth your time. But anyways, let's go ahead and dive into the monthly wrap-up video, which I have been 1000% inspired by Jenna. If you haven't seen Jenna's channel, I will link it right there. The Board Game Garden, become one of the gardeners, please. Jenna and I are good friends, and her monthly wrap-up videos are one of my favorite videos to follow. I just love seeing the games that she plays every month, and it inspires me to A, buy more games, and B, to make these videos too. So if you haven't followed Jenna, make sure you do. And let's go and start off with what I played in April. So the very first game that I played in April was Scythe. I am in such a big Scythe mood right now. And it's not because the expedition is coming later on, but it's because I finally decided to, well, I guess it's a little bit that too. But it's also because I finally played it at 4 players. See, I played Scythe at 7 players, and it was so ridiculous. Like, I did not enjoy it at 7, and it's definitely because a lot of us were learning at the time too, so it's kind of my fault initiating a 7-player game and knowing what that entails. But yeah, I think it's because initially I expected Scythe to be a very battle-oriented game, but when you teach Scythe and have everyone expect that it's not combat-oriented at all, rather it's more so resource management, area control, and a lot of other things going on here. But when you premise it with that, I think the game becomes way more fun. And I feel like at 4, like 3 minimum, but 4 players, it is so good. I'm gonna make a video or review about how, like, my last series, which was reviewing this game X amount of years later. I think the last one I did was Rising Sun, which, let me tell you, I got a good number of people that were upset, which is really funny. That would be a really fun review to do. And I think in May, my reviews are finally coming back. I haven't done a review in a very long time, and this channel is very overdue for doing some more reviews. So Scythe is on the docket for that. So much fun. I absolutely enjoy it, and I can't wait to dive into all the other factions because it's so good. And I can't believe it took me this long to finally understand what the hype behind Scythe was all about. So I get it now, and Scythe was the very first game that we played in April, multiple times too. We played it at 4 and 3, 2, 3, I think 4 times already by now. So after that, I played 2 very light games. The first one was Gang of Dice, which was my very first ever Reiner Knizia game. I've never played, I think I'm very surprised that I haven't played any of his other games. This is my very first game that I played from him. And it was from like a little board game get together, played with a bunch of other people. And you know, it was fun. But again, I'm not really big on like small games. I think there's a very small amount of travel friendly games that I just rave about, Fort being one of them. Which is nothing related to Game of Dice. But Game of Dice, I think, is just a fun dice chucker. If you're ever looking for a dice chucker where you just want to push your luck and see if you can get some dice to match a certain number depending on what card is shown out. Like, for instance, I think if a card is like an 8 or something and you try to roll an 8, there are different conditions where like you roll dice, you can't go under a 7, you can't go over 12 or 14. I think that's a fun premise, but it's super light and completely luck based. So it's fun for the first, once, maybe 2 times over, but after that it just gets a little repetitive. So it was a cool game, but not something that I would play on a daily basis. And the next one too, similar, no dice, but similar in terms of like how it feels for me, and that is 5-3-5. So this one was a card game, and honestly, I feel like the rules might have been lost in translation a little bit, but the overall idea behind it is still confusing to me. But you pretty much have I think it's a set collection game where you are trying to match like a straight or something, and you can play up to 1 or 3 cards per turn. And it was okay. That's all it was. It was an okay game, and it was interesting to try out, but not something that I would get. I mean, I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna tell you all the games that I played this month. Some were a hit, some weren't. These were 2 of them that weren't the biggest hit this month, but I'm always open to playing every single game. Was there a term for that, right? Omni gamer? I play literally every game. I don't mind playing any game, and I will have fun with it at the table and not be a party pooper. But once I like think back and reassess, these are the games I'm like, it was okay. And those 2 were okay. Next up, Steam Up. I've been talking about this one for quite some time now, and I finally got a deluxeified upgrade to them. This game has been super fun. It's a really easy teach. Everyone that I've introduced this game to has had an absolute blast with it, and I even ordered a bunch of copies for a bunch of my friends to play too. Steam Up has been absolutely fun and a major hit. After that, we have been playing the Wolves at 2, 3, and 4 players. Now, this one is actually gonna be my very next review for this channel for sure, when I get to filming it. But the Wolves has been pretty fun. I need like one more play of this game before I really substantiate my thoughts on this. But Wolves is an area control game. And I know you can't see that now, but the Wolf logo on my table. The whole channel, hello, Wolfpack. So of course, I had to review this game eventually. But this is the next review that's coming out on my channel. And how this game works is you are controlling a pack of wolves. And you're trying to control a bunch of different territories and also dominate other wolves, while also building up different posts across the map. And movement is a really important part of this game. And I think my favorite part about this game is not only are you allowed to dominate other wolves, aka take control of other wolves from other players, which is really fun and so funny to see when other people are like frustrated that you're taking over their wolf pack. It's really fun. But other than that, the area control is really interesting, and I think the level progression here is really cool too, because as you build up different huts and as you take over different areas and even hunt different prey, then you'll level up on your board and unlock new and more wolves that you can add to your pack. It's a really fun game, and I think it is a staple in my collection, but more on that when I get to the full-on review. Now, after the Wolves, I had actually only 3 more games played this month. Now, the next game I played was Overboss Duel, and we played this at the Game Pathways event. I'll be talking about Game Pathways later on in the fall when the second year of it comes out. But Game Pathways, real quick, is actually an organization from Otherwise Games that is helping aspiring game designers from like high school and college students get into the industry. Really fun organization, and I love what they're doing. And we got a chance to play Overboss Duel at that event, and it was taught to it by Chris from Brotherwise Games, and Johnny actually kind of tag teamed it. I played with Bonds in this one. And in Overboss Duel, how it works is it is a tile placement game. Now, I've never played Overboss, but in an Overboss Duel, it has like the same theme. So it has like the pixelated retro gaming style, which I absolutely love and I want to see more of in the gaming industry. But how this game works is you're going to have different tiles come out, and then you'll be picking those tiles and adding them to either your tableau or the opposite player's tableau, and you're pretty much building a set of tiles that have different powers and sequences depending on which tile that you placed in which area. And there are a lot of abilities and things involved. But ultimately, your goal here is to score the most points by your arrangement of these tiles, because there's like dungeons and different monsters sync up with different dungeons. Like I think the Yeti or like the snow monster synced up with like the snow terrain. So you get bonus points for like matching things like that up. I'm oversimplifying the gameplay by a mile, but we only played it once. And after that too, heroes are bad for you because ultimately in Overboss, you're trying to destroy the heroes. So you're trying to build up a huge villain tableau and score the most points that way. But what I will say, and what I found most interesting, although every game that I play with Bonds is very interesting because we have very, very strong antics and both of us have very, very strong personalities. So every game that we play is really, really entertaining.
Final score 17-2 by 2 points.
You don't want to mess. You don't want to mess.
Barely. King Croak. Why?
But what I will say is that what I found most interesting is the player interaction. I love the player interaction so far, and it's really fun how you're able to mess with the other person's tableau and move their tiles around even though they've already placed it. That's something that I haven't seen around in any other tile placement game just yet, but I also haven't played many tile placement games overall. So that was Overboss Duel. And then we ended the month with 2 epic games. The most difficult game in my collection right now is Lisboa. Okay, Lisboa is my first ever Lacerda game, and the more I watch Before You Play's videos, Monique and Naveen from them, the more I watch their videos, the more I realize that my taste aligns very, very closely with theirs. Like, I think it's funny because I usually don't play a lot of the heavier Euro games because simply of the artwork and like the components. It's not as flashy as I would like it to be, which is really, really bad because I'm judging a book by its cover. But I mean, honestly, there are thousands of board games. Like, we kind of have to do that. Even books nowadays, like there's so many books. Like, how do you pick one? You gotta pick one that looks interesting at least, right? But that, let me tell you, is my fault and really bad judgment because I am really, really loving dry Euro strategic games. They are so freaking fun and satisfying. And after playing Lisboa, I feel like I can learn any other game now, like in a heartbeat. Okay, maybe not in a heartbeat, but I feel like I can at least approach any other game now because with the 4.59 complexity on BGG, it is definitely by far the most complex game that I've ever played. But it is one of the most rewarding games that I've ever played, even after learning that. The payoff is so real and so good. And now it makes me want to get into all of the other Lacerda games as well, like On Mars, The Gallerist. Ugh, just want to dive into all its games now. Lisboa, for those that don't know, is based on actual historic context. And it's insane how thematic this game is because every single mechanic is really focused in on how the story develops and how like the earthquake happened way back when, and every single decision that you make was based on actual historical context, which is an absolute feat to do. In it, you're trying to score the most amount of wigs or victory points, and you're trying to appease several different nobles, but there are a bajillion paths to victory. And this game, why I really love it right now and why it's been so freaking amazing is because I cannot see a clear path to victory. It is so full of depth and intricacies and just ways to approach the game that makes me want to play it again and again and again. And I think it's a lot easier to table depending on, like, I really think the teacher that you get for Lisboa really makes an impact on how you learn the game and how you end up enjoying it. Because if you have a good teacher with this game, then I think it's gonna be one that you will definitely enjoy, and it's definitely gonna change your gaming taste. This is the game that's gonna make a big impact on you if you ever try it once. So that is Lisboa. Definitely doing a review on this as well after Wolves. And then lastly, the last game that we finished up the month with, well, I've actually been playing this game throughout the entire month of April, but this game is my current favorite of the month. I should do that video. My favorite game of April 2023. But if I had a series like that, Blood Rage would be that game for the past month. I don't know why it's taken me so long to play this game. And when I finally bit the bullet and bought this game, actually, I bought this game during the Brotherwise event. So when we played Overboss Duel, one of these games was on the shelf because we played this at a local gaming store. And it was just like my incentive right away to like A, support, local gaming stores, and B, to finally try out and play Blood Rage. So I played Blood Rage initially with Amanda Panda and with Bonds, And this is when Bonds first taught us the game, and it is so freaking good. I love Blood Rage. I'm so into it because right after that, I found some like deluxified components. I'm now looking for like the sculpture tokens and everything. And I played it again at another meetup, and we played it just yesterday too when Bonds and Josh were here at the studio when we were all together hanging out. And Blood Rage just keeps knocking out of the park. Every time I play this game, it just keeps getting better and better and better. And how this game works is, it is the first series of Eric Lang's title of 3. So it goes Blood Rage, it goes Rising Sun, which I wasn't a fan of, and then it goes Ankh. So I like the first and the last of this 3 series. I feel like Blood Rage may be higher range for me than Ankh. I don't know yet. I'll have to play Ankh again, but it's gonna be really hard to decide between those two because I feel like the trio, it's like these 2 are up here, and Rising Sun, I don't even want to play ever again. I'm sorry, but it's true. So in Blood Rage, it is a Viking themed game. It is definitely the fastest of the 3, which is why it's so much more approachable. And in this game, you are ultimately trying to score victory points from either pillaging other people's territory. So it is an area control game. You're either trying to pillage other people's territories, or you're also trying to be sent to Valhalla, because dying is actually a good thing in this game, and it can score you a ton of victory points too. I know there's a lot of other nuanced strategies that I'm trying to avoid looking at right now before I get too much into it. But here's the thing, you start off drafting a set of 6 cards. And those 6 cards, the game also tells you to, that you should stick to one god. Like there's Loki's cards and Thor's cards and Tyr's cards, and each card has a specific theme. Like Loki, you're encouraged to die and be sent to Valhalla. Thor's cards, you're encouraged to be fighting in battle and winning victory points more from fighting more often. So I think that's what's super cool, is that each set has a very unique perk. And even though each clan isn't asymmetric, they kind of become asymmetric from all the upgrades that you have, because each card can be clan upgrades, they can be ship upgrades, they can also be like monster upgrades and army upgrades or warrior upgrades. And then as you pick your cards on your turn, you're doing a bunch of different things. You can invade different territories, you can upgrade your clans, you can complete quests, you can do a lot of different things, and it's so freaking dynamic in how you're playing the game. And I feel like it really tests me, because I usually like to stick with 1 or 2 strategies, but because it has so many different paths to victory too, kind of like Lisboa in that sense, because it has so many different paths to victory, it makes me want to play again and again. And playing it with Bonds, who's so freaking good. Bonds is amazing in this game, and you know, she competed in this game at the WSBG. She's good at a lot of games, and she like shows me up all the time, but especially in Blood Rage, like her way to like calculate things out is just mind blowing, and it makes me want to play again, because I need a challenger back to back. I'm sick and tired of losing this game, but I also want to play it again and again because it's just so freaking fun. I can't deal with how good Blood Rage is right now, and I'm also looking for a bunch of other upgrades. I'm also trying not to get too crazy into the upgrades, because I did see some wooden inserts and some wooden player boards. This is me thinking about my temptation to not get them, but I probably will get them by the time you see the Blood Rage review video. So anyways, those are my thoughts on some games that I got to play in April. Thank you all so much for hanging out with me. Let me know which one of these games is on your radar and which games you also got a chance to play too in April. I would love to know. And lastly, if you made it here to the very, very end, Wolfpack, you're amazing. I appreciate you so much. Comment #runitback so that way I can run it back with Bonds. And you know what? We need to do some gameplay with Blood Rage here. That'd be fun, wouldn't it? Thank you all so much for hanging out with me, and I'll see you all on Wolfpack Wednesday.